Okay, we're about to, by sharp 7, we are starting. We are not wasting any time. So we'll start while others join. We don't like taking time. I want to make sure that we're joining at the right time. So we'll start immediately. Once, okay, it's already 7. Okay. So we're going to be looking at our second subject for today. Like we ask questions immediately. So let's look at government. It can also define government as a process or act of governing, as well as an academic field of study. So as an institution of state, they define as the agency or machinery through which the will of the state is formulated, expressed, and attained. And we can see this through the various arms of government. For formulation, we talk about, we have the executive that implements and that makes it possible for government to attain its will. Then we have the legislature that forms the law, that's formulation. And you also have the judiciary that does the expression or interpretation of this law. Now we talk about government also as a process of governing. In that case, we see it as the body vested with the power and authority for maintaining security, peace, and stability by making and enforcing laws. Can also define government as the study of the agencies and political institutions and dynamics of the state. So in those 3 definitions, we have government being defined as the institution of the state, as a process of governing, and as an academic field of study. Okay. Now let's look at the basic concepts. Things that you should know if you're studying government. You're going to be meeting these words every day in your government study. So how do you know them when you come across them? So you're going to be hearing things like power, authority, legitimacy, sovereignty. If you're a government, you need to have power over the people that you are you're in charge of. But this power could also come in form of authority, and it could be a power that is the type that the military people have, the forceful power. It could be a charismatic power. It could be other forms of power. It could be a power that you have because you a traditional ruler in it. Others are forced to come. Authority is the power or right to give orders and enforce obedience. So if you're a person that is having power by nature of the authority of your office, in that case, power that is supported by the constitutional laws, then legitimacy is derived from the word legitimate, from a Latin word, and it means lawful and according to law. So when you say this is a legitimate marriage, it means that this is a lawful marriage. This is the legitimate child. It means that this child came out of legitimate relationship between 2 married people. So the legitimacy simply means according to law, something that is lawful. Whereas sovereignty is defined as absolute power of a state to exercise supreme legal authority over its own affairs and territory without other states interfering. So when you say that Nigeria is a sovereign state, you're simply saying that Nigeria can do what they have to do without UK or Britain. You know, Nigeria is colonized by the British people. So Nigeria is a sovereign state because it can make its laws, do its own things without UK interfering or without America interfering. So once a state can carry out its actions without other states interfering, we say that such state is a sovereign state. Now, what is a state? A state may be defined as a politically organized body of people occupying a definite geographical territory. So a good example of a state is Nigeria. Nigeria is a group of people occupying the map of Nigeria. That's where it's a defined territory. That's why we call it a state. Another good example of a state is Ghana. Another good example of a state is Cameroon. Another good example is Sierra Leone, USA, Britain. All these are states. So sometimes we confuse the word state with nation or country. So state is what we normally call country in our words here in Nigeria. We normally say country. United States of America, Britain, all these are countries. But in government, we call them states. Now, society includes every kind of degree of relationship between people in an both organized or unorganized. So when you talk about society, society simply means people that are related in some ways. Let's say in your church, we have various societies in the church where we have people, let's say people that are lectors, people that read in the church, they come together. So you organize yourselves together. That's what we call society. So it's different from state, which is the country that has government, that has other things that makes it a state. Now we'll look at political culture. Political culture are the attitudes, sentiments, and beliefs, also ideas and norms that guide the behavior of a people in a political system. So here in Nigeria, we are having this political culture that after every election, there is always riot, people fight. So we tend to have such sentiments that the elections are fraudulent. In most cases, as well, also those elections are actually fraudulent. So this culture are things that we over time will develop to do. In order to change this very culture, this attitude. So you can see the word political culture and political socialization. They are very, very related because you use political socialization to make the political culture better. And that's why we say that political socialization refers to the process by which citizens are educated on the right values, attitude, and belief of a political system. So those attitudes and beliefs are called political culture, but socialization is when you now educate people on those culture, make them to do the right thing. Okay. So let's move forward. So we are getting the basic concept. Now let's look at states. What are the difference between a state and a nation? So a state remains independent and a self-governing entity that is entirely free from external control, whereas a nation refers to a body of people who feel themselves to be naturally linked together. So let's say state now, Nigeria is a state because arms of government, legislature, and all the rest. But when you talk about nation, Nigeria is a state, but nation, you can say that the Yoruba is a Yoruba nation because the Yorubas are connected together culturally. They speak the same language and do things, have the same culture. Whereas in a state, they are not necessarily the same. And that's why we say in a state, they are heterogeneous people. Different kinds of people can be in one state. Like the state Nigeria has Igbo people, it has Hausa Fulani people, it has Yoruba people. So it is not homogeneous, it's heterogeneous. But nations are homogeneous. Say Yoruba, all of them speak the same language, the same Yoruba language. So I want you to get the difference between state and nation. Is where you living together, and all of them are also culturally linked. Geographical area, but states must have defined territory, just like your that could be found on people. Whereas for nation, you can see that there are Yoruba people in Nigeria, southwestern Nigeria. There are also Yoruba people in Togo does not have a defined territory. It may in some cases, but not. It does not always have a defined territory, just like nation, just like as you can see in states. Okay. So every state is a sovereign state, like Nigeria. Russia cannot tell Nigeria what to do. So states are sovereign, but nations are not sovereign. The Yoruba nation cannot do everything they want to do because Nigeria has power over the Yoruba nation between state and nation. So example A, Ghana, Britain, whereas nations you have Yoruba nation, Igbo nation, Hausa nation, all those are nations. They are culturally linked together. Okay, with that, we'll come to the past questions and answers. So this is a little introduction. This is very easy and sharp. We believe that in next classes, people will be plenty. So I don't want to do so much in our first classes. So I want to just get us to know that we've started. Subsequent classes where our number increases much, we'll be going into detail. So let's look at question number 3 from JAMB. So we have JAMB question 2020, 12, and 2013. Okay. So we have a state is a political entity refers to what? We have option A, an organized group of people within definite territory. B, an association of men in a given society. C, a branch of a nation. D, a geographical location. So we can see that option A is the answer because a state, like I said, is a territory must be defined, and you can see it from the map. Nigeria is a state. There's a defined map of Nigeria. Ghana is a state. There's a defined map. A nation as a territory. You can see, you can actually see the map showing where the nation comes and goes, but it's not like defined as you could see for a state. Okay. Secondly, we have the 2012 within a defined territory. You can see that this second question is just another way of writing the first question. So once you have definite territory, know that they are talking about states. Whereas if they are common people living together and linked up culturally, we talk about nation. So as a way of revision, you need to know the difference between state and nation. States have heterogeneous people. It has defined territory. Example of states is Nigeria, Ghana, Libya, Liberia, Cameroon. A state is sovereign. No other state tells a state what to do. They have sovereign power to direct their actions. Whereas a nation has homogeneous people, say Yoruba nation, everybody speaks Yoruba, they are culturally linked. A nation does not have a defined territory. So you can have nation Yoruba both in Nigeria and in Togo. You can see there are some Hausa Fulani that are in the northern part of Nigeria and also in Niger Republic. So Hausa nation, you can see they are in 2 territories. So you don't say defined territory here. And finally, a nation is not sovereign. So a nation is almost always inside a state. So you have the state controlling the actions of or the activities of the nation. Okay. So take note of what we've just looked at. In subsequent classes, we're going to be going deeper, looking at the arms of government. Thank you. See you when I see you.